Hello, my name is Megan Namai, and I am a career development specialist at the UNT at Frisco campus. Today, I will be walking you through how to write a chronological resume. If you have questions about this presentation or would like to schedule a one-on-one appointment with me, please email me at megan.namai@unt.edu. So first, why do we have a resume? Get an interview. Many people believe that the purpose of a resume is to get a job. On the contrary, the resume is what will open the door for an interview. The interview is what will get you the job, but that topic is saved for another presentation. Advertise yourself. This is an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to a hiring individual or committee. Unless you see a recruiter at a career fair, this is the first time they will meet you. As such, you want to ensure that you give the best representation of yourself in your resume. So here are a few fast facts about resumes. The average time spent by recruiters looking at a resume is 5 to 7 seconds. That is not a very long time. Therefore, you want to find ways to grab their attention quickly in order to keep them reading. 76% of resumes are discarded for an unprofessional email address. I will be talking about this more in a few minutes. You want to make sure that you have a professional email address listed on your resume. There's an 88% rejection rate when you include a photo on your resume. Basically, do not include a photo. If the job for which you are applying requires a professional headshot, it will be clearly listed in the required document section of the application. If you do not see it there, do not submit a headshot. Applicant tracking software, the robots that read your resume, are able to quickly eliminate 75% of applicants. An applicant tracking software is used by companies to collect and sort through thousands of resumes. Many times, this involves a keyword search, so you want to make sure that your resume aligns with the job description and matches those keywords. 68% of employers will find you on Facebook. While this does not deal directly with a resume, it is still a valuable tip. Be careful about what is posted on social media. While the statement focuses on Facebook, I recommend looking through all social media platforms and ask the question, do my pictures or posts give an accurate representation of myself? Another trick is to do a Google search of your name or common variations and see what pops up. Next, let's talk about the resume format. This format is a template that is recommended by UNT Career Services. However, it is not the only format that you can use. If you would like to use this specific template, email UNT at Frisco Career Services at frisco.careerready@unt.edu. Throughout the rest of this presentation, I will be going through some key components to have on your resume, regardless of the specific format you choose to utilize. So what are those key components? There are 6 sections that I recommend having on a resume, and I will go through each one of those. First is personal information, your name. Your name should be centered on the page. It should be bold and a larger font size than the rest of the text. And it's your name, so you do not want it to get lost in your resume. Phone number. This should be a phone number that you use regularly. Double and triple check that your phone number is correct. There is nothing worse than accidentally typing the wrong phone number on your resume. I recommend typing the number and saving it, then walk away for a few minutes before checking it again. Your brain will autocorrect numbers and words, so it may be harder to catch those little mistakes. Professional email address. First of all, you want to make sure this is an email that you check on a regular basis. If you are applying for a job, you want to make sure that you get all communication from that company. As such, the email address that you use should be one that you check daily. Don't use an unprofessional email address. So what does that mean? When I got my first email address, I did not put my name on it or anything like that. I was crazy about horses, so I put the name of a famous eventing horse in my email address. This is not one that I would use on a resume. Let's look at a few more examples. lostfan98@email.com. No. What about I need a job at email.com? Also no. This one makes you sound a bit desperate, which does not look good to an employer. Finally, what about sparkly sunshine gal at email.com? Again, no. When talking about a professional email address, use one that is some variation of firstname.lastname@email.com. This identifies you and your email address, and it is clean and simple. If someone else with your name has already done this, you can simply add an additional number at the end to set yours apart. Something like john.smith@email.com. Next is city and state. You do not have to include your exact address, just the city and state. And finally, the LinkedIn URL. If you do not have a LinkedIn profile, I strongly recommend that you create one. You can use the free version and it will be an excellent tool for networking. Make sure that you have an edited URL. When you create your LinkedIn profile, you will automatically receive a personal URL. At the end of this URL, you'll see your name, followed by a series of random numbers and letters. In your profile, you can edit that to remove that random series. So it just ends with your first and last name. So all of that is in the personal information. Let's move on to the next one, which is the professional profile. So this will be a 2 to 3 sentence introduction of yourself at the beginning of your resume. This is made up of who you are, a couple of key skills or accomplishments, and your career goals. So let's take a quick look at an example. Senior marketing major at the University of North Texas, planning to graduate in May 2021. Hardworking individual who thrives in a diverse, fast-paced environment and values group collaboration in a professional setting. Seeking an internship in the logistics field starting August 2020. Let's break this example down into the 3 recommended sections. First, identify who you are. This individual did that by stating senior marketing major at the University of North Texas. Second, skills or accomplishments. This example focuses on skills by listing hardworking, collaboration, and professional. And third, career goals. This example clearly states that the individual is looking for an internship in the logistics field starting August 2020. So let's move on to the next set of components, and that's core competencies and technical skills. Core competencies are those transferable skills or personal strengths. These skills are things that can be utilized in multiple types of jobs and industries. And some examples are leadership, communication, collaboration, and detail-oriented. And you want to make sure that you include about 3 to 4. And second, you've got your technical skills. So these are those computer and software programs. So as it sounds, you want to list those programs that you've used. Some examples would include Microsoft Office, Adobe, or computer programming languages. And you want to include at least 2 to 3 skills in this section as well. Only include institutions from which you have received a degree. You may have attended multiple higher education institutions, but you only need to show the ones from which you received a degree. Be sure to clearly identify which degree you received. So for example, as we see in this layout down here, the degree name and major. So for example, that would be Bachelor of Business Administration in Finance. And then what school you went to. If you are a sophomore or above, remove anything related to high school. So information involving high school should only be on your resume if you're a freshman. And list education in reverse chronological order. And what that means is if you went to a community college for a couple of years and received your associates, and then you are finishing your bachelor's at UNT, you would still put your associate's degree on there, but it's going to be further down. The first education that we'll see is UNT. And then after you put your UNT degree information, then you would put your associates from whatever community college you attended. And then finally, include your GPA if it is over a 3.0. If it's under, don't put it on your resume. If it's over, make sure it's there. And there's this section that talks about additional education, certificates, training, and relevant coursework. When it comes to adding that, I recommend focusing on the upper level classes that you've taken instead of the lower level. It'll show a greater understanding and greater knowledge. Moving on to experience. In this section, you can include work experience, internships, and academic projects that you have completed. If you worked on a project that demonstrates your knowledge or skills, include it in your resume. And here's the information about how you enter those experiences. So you're going to include the position title, company name, location, and dates. You want to tie your competencies to your experience. So those core competencies that you listed earlier in your resume, you want to connect those to your experience and really use your experience to demonstrate those skills. You want to have 3 to 5 bullet points per experience. And each bullet point should cover 3 things: what you did, how you did it, and what was the result. So an example of a statement that you could use would be, trained over 15 wait staff on a monthly basis, which increased customer satisfaction and sales of new menu items 3 quarters in a row. So in this statement, not only does it talk about a particular skill set, like training, but it also provides numbers. It provides a context for what that person did and what that individual has done. And the next section is student organizations and volunteer experience. Include any student organizations, leadership positions, certifications, and volunteer work. And as was stated earlier, avoid including any high school experiences unless you are a freshman. If you have developed or utilized specific skills throughout your volunteer experience, you can include that here. And look at that. You did it. You made it to the end of the presentation. You now know the key things to include on your resume. To schedule an appointment, you can either email me directly at megan.namai@unt.edu, or you can email frisco.careerready@unt.edu. You can also follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.